Well, thank you all very much for coming. This is our first artist talk, community event, virtual talk. That's part of our Downtown Kinston mural program, which has been a long time in the making. And we have some committee members here who I'll ask to introduce yourselves in a second. But the Downtown Kinston mural program grew out of a grant that the city applied for through the National Endowment for the Arts. It's an Our Town grant. That was intended to really invest in downtown, which already has so much going on with the arts, and to encourage more of that to happen and to really connect the economic and artistic aspects of downtown to bring more residents and tourists and to really enhance our downtown with public art murals. And of course, the best way to do that and to get a great variety of art that is supported and reflects the whole community, we had a citizen committee that helped recruit the artists to find the appropriate walls and to help all the logistics get going. So I'll just at least name the people that I can see. We have Dr. Joyner, Ms. Geraldine Barbour, Ms. Lisette Cornegie, and Bennett Wynn, I believe, is down in the bottom. And I suppose I'll go based on who I can see. Dr. J, would you like to introduce yourself real quick?
Hello, everybody. I'm officially Rita L. Joyner, PhD, but my students call me Dr. J. I teach mathematics at the Early College High School here. I am born and raised in Kinston, North Carolina, and I'm happy to be here with the phenomenal Maxx Moses.
Wow, thank you. It's good to see your face. Very nice, very good.
I'm Geraldine Barbour. I came to Kinston in 1989 from New York State, where I taught for 31 years. And I came to Kinston and taught 10 more years at Kinston High School. So though I am not a native Kinstonian, Kinston has been my home for a long time, and I'm very proud of it.
Wonderful. Nice to meet you.
Oh, hello, I am Lisette Cornegie. Hi, Max.
How you doing, Lisette?
Hello, singer-songwriter, bachelor in art and drawing and painting. And I've been here mostly all my life, and I love music, I love art. I'm in the African-American music trail. So.
Beautiful. Nice. Is that everyone? I think so. Yeah, I think that's it. Okay. Wonderful. Should I begin?
No, well, I haven't introduced myself yet. My name's, can you hear me?
I can hear you. Yes.
Oh, wait, no, we can't hear you anymore. We could hear you at first.
Okay, how's that?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm one of the newest smartest here in Kinston. I came from Elizabeth City, where I currently and used to, and I still teach health and phys ed part-time. I have my undergraduate degree in studio art and my graduate degree in health education from East Carolina. I paint, I do mixed media, three-dimensional mixed media with polymer clay. I've stopped all that because I'm working on a portrait of you-know-who. Yeah. And I met Max the day he left.
Right.
Yeah. Met you with my daughter and my son-in-law.
Yes. Welcome. Welcome.
Thank you. Okay, I'm done.
Okay. Very nice. Well, it's good because from this nice intimate group that we have here, I've met at least 3 or 4 of 4 people that are joining us. So that's great. Yeah, it's been a great experience. I had a chance, like I mentioned, to interact with some of, which I think is always an important part of my creative process when I do get an opportunity to go to a different destination. It's always, I feel that, and I know that I've expressed this to some of you, that the quality of the art is always based upon the interactions that I have with members of the community. It's how those exchanges are taking place, how they influence my creativity, how they influence my well-being, and all of the above. But before I go into any of the actual creative process of what took place in Kinston, I'd like to give you a little background of who I am as an artist and how my experience has actually shaped where I am today. And Sarah has so kindly helped organize some images that she is going to put on screen as I begin to, talk a little bit about my history. So, okay, someone mentioned that they're from New York, and I am a New Yorker originally, growing up as a teenager in the 70s. And during that time in New York, I feel like the city itself was going through an identity crisis with all the urban decay. And in the process, I feel like most of us teenagers were going through that same identity crisis too. And we were trying to find out who we are and how we could, represent ourselves truly and authentically. And it came about for me and hundreds of other young teenagers through the art form of graffiti. I know a picture's gonna show up soon. So we took to the New York City subways and just began to rebelliously, I like to say it was a joyful rebellion of how we just went and created personas for ourselves, made up names for ourselves. It's interesting because as I was painting the wall, a lot of people that came by kept having this association with Soul Train. And like, yeah, I understand that because this is all during the same time where I was forming my art form, where Soul Train was on television. And, we would mimic those kind of colors and letters and use them in our graffiti writing on the New York City subways. So there's a definite strong association with that. So are the images not going to show up, Sarah? Thanks. So this is not my work, but this is an example of what was taking place on the subways back in the 70s. And, for us, it was fascinating. It was like this new way to express ourselves in the world, in the police department, in the overall community. Definitely seen it from a different point of view than we did, but it was something that I knew was important. It was important because it was a way for me to express myself other than violence. So that is one experience of the beginning stages, like a seed to the creative process of where I am today. And for many years, I used to carry shame about it because I felt like I destroyed a lot of property in the process. But after doing some real research and some internal work as well, I realized that it's just a very natural thing to do for human beings to mark and to write on things. Like if you look back in history, if you look at cavemen wrote on side of caves, Egyptians did hieroglyphics. So it's just a natural thing for humans to express themselves and also to leave this mark of I was here. Like every human wants to leave this mark, this impression upon life that they were here, that they contributed to society. You can move to the next photo. So this is just a seed link, and this is like the New York City train yards, and this is where we would go to at night and actually paint on the subways. So this is the beginning of my life and creativity in New York City. And it was all about, at the time, creating identity. Identity was the first thing. Go to the next slide. Identity is the first thing. It was all about our names. It was how we could highlight our names and then emboss them and beautify them and make them as big and as powerful and as bold as possible. Sarah, can you go to the next photo? So here we are again. Now, as we progressed in time and in our creativity, the trains were becoming really too dangerous to create on, and we moved to walls and making our mark. We needed bigger canvases. So this is a collaboration piece of what we've done. You can go to the next one. And then it became important more to have imagery that reflected our experiences at the time. So this is a crew of artists. Maybe you don't see the whole mural. There's sections of it that are cut off, but this is our crew that we formed back in the 80s, on the 90s actually. And it became like the first international graffiti crew, because the artists that are on the bottom are from Germany and the ones that are on the top are from New York. And this crew gave us international acclaim. We did 2 movies based upon the crew. You can find them on YouTube, called the FX movie. And this is how we gained our notoriety. Like, other artists around the world knew who we were, wanted to emulate what we were doing. And so this is like the launch pad to international access. You can go to the next slide. So over the years of just being exposed to traveling throughout the world, going to a lot of events that were graffiti related, to Germany, to Amsterdam, Belgium, all over the planet, we had the opportunity to connect with people. This is an image of a recent trip when I was just in Botswana, Africa in February of 2020. Using art as this vehicle of communication and this art as a vehicle of community building. You can go to the next slide.
I just wanted to say that we are now on Facebook Live. Okay, it's finally happening.
It's official, beautiful. So as I was saying, like using art as a vehicle for community building, this is in Pakistan, and I believe in 2018. So it's interesting how art has been used to like break down barriers, and also just like travel to different parts of the world which have been considered forbidden or, you know, afraid to travel to, and just finding total different realities when you get there. So I'm grateful that those opportunities have presented themselves. And yeah, so this is in Pakistan, and these like, you know, just beautiful young people, man, who are just really inspired and enthused about the creative process and dying to just talk to you and communicate and paint with you. So this is a very, very brief synopsis of how traveling, creating art, connecting with communities have all been a vital part of my creative process, and the process that I would like to share. And it's a process of exchange. It's this beautiful process of where I feel like I'm gifting a community with some artwork, and at the same time, the community is gifting me with their energy to create something that we both will mutually enjoy. You can go to the next slide. So these are some more recent projects. The project on the left is a celebration of our art form and our crew, which is called the FX Crew. And this is the 20-story building that we painted last year, this time in Moscow, Russia. And there were a lot of other murals taking place. In this one section, I believe there were like 40 of these high-rise apartment buildings being painted at one time. And they invited us specifically to do graffiti, which was a huge honor because all of us have evolved into other forms of art, but they wanted to continue to recognize our art form because it was so hated in its infancy, and now it's so celebrated. So that was a huge honor to travel to Moscow and create that piece of artwork. And then on the right is a project that was done early this year in Buffalo, New York. It was right in the height of COVID-19 and some of the racial uprising that was taking place. And DUville University invited me to come and create a piece of artwork that spoke to Black Lives Matter. However, I flipped the wording to Black Matter is Life, just wanting to expand the conversation that, yes, Black lives do matter, but in essence, Black matter is life. Like everything comes from Black, from the ordinary, like the Black man and the Black woman are the original man on the planet. And I just wanted to emphasize how significant that was. So I wanted to take it to another step and also just like show an image of a beautiful Black man, you know, who was strong and powerful and loving and spiritual all at the same time. So I just want to give a quick run through of some of the projects that have kind of led up to my visit to Kinston. We can move to the next slide. So now we have downtown Kinston. In the process of preparing, even before I got awarded the opportunity to come to Kinston, it was a call to artists that I looked at. And so I don't know how I actually received it. Someone sent it to me and I thought it would be a perfect fit for where I am now. I didn't show one of these images. It just slipped my mind, but I started the year off with a very huge mural that was called Son, Mommy Loves You. And it was a dedication to all mothers and sons. And I felt like it really set the pace for 2020 in terms of my art career. This project, when I found out about it, I realized it was an hour away from where my dad was born and raised in Janesville, North Carolina. It's such a small town. I don't even think people in Kinston have heard of it. But that's the case. And then my daughter lives in Rocky Mount, North Carolina. So in applying for it, I thought it'd be a great opportunity to kind of pay homage to, you know, my dad and my uncles and aunts and grandmothers and ancestors all in North Carolina, as well as my new generation of my grandchildren and daughter and son-in-law. So I was like, wow, this would be a great opportunity. And I was awarded and grateful. So I wanted to create something. When Sarah sent me the image of the wall, I was like, this project is huge. Like, wow, I don't know, wow, like this is really big. So I wanted to create something that would fill up the space with really big shapes. And that was the initial idea. What those shapes would conceive of, I really didn't know. It was just really going to be something abstract, colorful, and interesting. That was the basic idea. You could go to the next slide. When I arrived, I had the sketch already developed, and the sketch was supposed to take up, what you're actually seeing was supposed to stretch across the entire scope of the wall. But it didn't. I didn't have, some of my scaling and stuff was off, and it just didn't fit the whole wall. And I was like, wow, okay, so what am I gonna do? But I've trained myself not to be discouraged or dissuade in any shape and form. I kind of feel like everything has its purpose. And I was like, all right, cool. So it fits here. It gives me plenty of room, which I explained to the staff at Kinston, like, when I develop a sketch, 75% of what I develop on that sketch will be to that amount of accuracy, and the other 25% leaves room for me to just feel my way through and connect with the people that are there, connect with the environment that is there, and be able to incorporate that into the mural itself. So I think on this one, it was probably more like 50%. And that was totally okay with me, and hopefully it was okay with everyone in Kinston. Because I had the opportunity to go down by the river. Perhaps you can go to the next slide. I had the opportunity to go down to the river, and if you look like right behind that large tree, there are all these trees, and that is my interpretation of the Neuse River and the trees and all the trees that I was seeing just driving throughout North Carolina. I've always wanted to have a large tree in the piece because that tree just represents this rootedness, this ancestral rootedness, this family rootedness, this unity, the community. All of those things are represented by that tree. So I just really wanted to convey that idea. And then if you go to the next slide, please. Why don't continue? We can go back to that. I just want to catch the far end of the mural on the right. Sarah.
You mean the far right?
The far right, yes.
All right.
Yeah, and then we'll scroll back. Okay. So right now, I just talk about like the things that were inspiring me along the way. We had a chance to stay in the art district while we were in Kinston, and it was quite a bit throughout the process. And one night where a storm was approaching, I just heard the sound, and it was, boy, he just zipped around the corner on this I don't even know what it's actually called, but one wheel electronic device that is definitely futuristic and cool. And I wanted to incorporate that into the piece just to because it just felt right. I wanted to create something. Initially, I was going to do them really, really big on almost the same size. So now go back to that all the way to the left again, mural, please. I wanted to make it initially really huge, that it would the other side of the wall. Sarah, can you hear me? Can you scroll back to the left side of the mural? One more, I think. There we go. I wanted the boy who was traveling to have that same size, but it didn't work well when I was looking at it. It didn't balance correctly. And I felt that also there was a lot of big images that were dynamic and left a lot to the imagination. And I felt it should be really small, almost life-size, that this life-size character was actually pulling this kind of dreamscape into his next reality. So, I have questions. I have questions for all my participants here. Yeah, we can go, you can stay right, go back one more, that's fine. Let's stay right there. What do you feel that this mural says? And I'm going to ask that question to everyone who is participating here on Zoom. What do you feel that the mural is conveying to you as an individual? And we can start off with Geraldine.
As I was thinking, I was listening and taking notes, and the colors, they just touch me, and it's hard for me to explain how they are soothing and yet at the same time dynamic. You know, the orange. Unfortunately, we don't have the young man, on the right, but that was, to me, that was moving on in destiny, following your destiny, going on, because it looks like, things are behind him, forces are behind him, and he's moving on. And I can pick out individual things there. And I, looking back to the past as well as looking forward to the future. And it's, it's just fantastic. The colors, the combination of the colors and the movement that I feel. It's amazing.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. Okay. Thank you, Geraldine.
And I'm sorry I didn't get to see you. I came down 2 days, but the weather was bad in the afternoons. It was raining, and
Yes.
You weren't there, but that's all right. I could feel your work.
Oh, I'm glad to hear that. I'm glad to hear that. Thank you, Geraldine. Bennett. Is Bennett there? Bennett? No? Nope, he went to mute. Can we get full participation?
Can you hear me now?
There you are, Bennett. Awesome. I thought you bailed.
Sorry. Yeah, I'm electronically challenged. Sorry,
Okay.
Sorry about that. But yeah.
Well, welcome.
I think it's what it means to me, or what it says to me, is that all of us, especially young people, have this past they're constantly moving forward. We're all moving forward through time. We're growing up, we're growing old, but we pull this past along with us. And the past can be beautiful, it can be mysterious, it can be all kinds of things, but it's always behind us, and we kind of pull it along with us as we move into the future. And that, I think, is a wonderful concept. I think it came off beautifully.
Okay, thank you. Thank you.
Yeah. Sure.
Thank you. I'm glad that the idea has been successfully getting across. I think as an artist, it's always a concern that you successfully convey your ideas. So I'm glad that they are making sense. Bill,
Sure.
are you with us? Would you like to express your interpretation of what you see in front of you?
Wow. Well, sure. It's I love the kind of the futuristic feel, I guess, of the left-hand side of the art. I love the colors and the brightness, and as you move kind of from left to right, it kind of, for me, goes from something that feels a little abstract to something more real with the tree in the middle. And I love the fact that you incorporated the little boy from Kinston that inspired you there, because to me that really kind of grounds this whole thing into something that's real. And so to me that really everything becomes more than the sum of its parts once you added that little boy there on his wheel that I thought was very, very neat.
Yeah, it's interesting because I had quite a few conversations as I was creating, and I knew, it felt like as I was working kind of from left to right, and initially when people would come up, I was like, wow, people are looking at it and they don't have a clue of what I'm painting. They're like, the first gentleman that walked to the wall, literally walked to the wall, looked at it, and tilted his head all the way to the side and looked like, and I was like, yep. He's like, what in the heck is that? And part of me as an artist wants to create that. Like, I want to create some mystery. But that's the advantage of having a project where you can improvise along the way, because then you can tap into what's taking place around you. And I think that is super important. So thank you for on that.
And I love that, your response to that, because it is, the left side does feel a little mysterious, and I kind of like that as well, especially with the bright and fun colors in it, and then kind of bringing into reality. So it's just one that I think you can look at for a really long time and just enjoy it. So just for what it is. Thank you.
And thank you, because that's definitely another goal as well, as creating something that gives people something to look at more than just once. Yes. Connie, share with us your interpretation and what this piece of artwork has maybe inspired you or made you feel or think. Connie, are you with us? Connie may not be with us at the moment. Okay, so let's go.
I'm here. I was just trying to unmute.
Okay.
Yeah, I saw it. I've said it several times. It's just a half block from my house. And what I find is as the gentleman just mentioned, to me, part of it is abstract, but the right side is relaxing and calming to me somehow. I see the beauty of Kinston, which a lot of people don't see, and I see what it can become through art, and the colors relax me. I think it's a different interpretation to every person that looks at it, and that's what to me makes it exciting. It doesn't to me have to represent any one thing. It's a series of things that go together. It's up to separate, different interpretation, and that's what I like about it.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Excellent. Thank you, Connie.
You're welcome.
Let's go to LaShawn. LaShawn.
That's me, Dr. J.
Dr.
That's LaShawn's my middle name, but
Okay.
I was one of those Maxx that when I first got down there, I said, I see Soul Train.
Right.
And so you and I talked about that because we're both, you know, from that Soul Train generation. But as I continue to look at it now, particularly that I have it here in front of me on my laptop, I just keep seeing different things. And I kind of want to ask you, well, what were you thinking when you did that? And what were you thinking when you did that? And that looks like it could be this, but it could be that. And I just love the whole, from left to right, all of it. And as soon as I saw the kid on the, I think it's called a hoverboard, I don't know what it, but
Okay.
his image came into my mind because he is real. He's a
Right.
real, and most of the time I see him when I'm at the farmer's market. You
Oh,
know, because
do you?
like you said, he rides a lot down Heritage and around the river.
Okay.
But I think there's so many parts of it that every time I'm looking at it, and it's going to be the same way when I go down and see it live, when I take people down to show it, I think you're going to always be able to see something different and, you know, get something rich out of it every time you look at it.
That's the goal. That's the goal. Because it's going to be there for a long time.
Yeah.
So if it can be an ongoing conversation, I think it's more potent and more powerful like that.
Yes. I'm even looking at your tree and how it looks like it's the trunk of the tree looks like 3 strands. And you know, there's some in the word about, you know, a 3-strand cord, how strong it is. So that could also symbolize Kinston, because no matter what, Kinston remains strong through all the adversity and through all of anything that has come our way. Kinston is going to stand and stand strong.
That's interesting. Okay, I want to briefly expand upon what you just said about the number 3. So throughout the process, there were a number of people coming by, such as yourself, and having these great conversations and inspiring me as I was creating. And the pastor came by, and he's like, you know something, I'll be back. I'm going to bring a buddy of mine, and he's another pastor. So they just stood by, and I was like, all right, we can talk, but I'm going to still paint while we talk. And that's when I went into this zone. And started doing like these incredible strokes. And I just was like, and I turned around and I was like, you know something, you brothers are bringing me magic right now. And I was like, yes, because there's 3 of us. There's 3 of us. So yes, that I just wanted to, you know, highlight, you know, how important all the subtleties were influencing me along the way. Yes. So thank you, Dr. J.
You're welcome.
Definitely appreciate you.
And the lime chips we had, you introduced.
You know what I'm saying? Beautiful. Okay, let's go to Lizette. Lizette, how are you?
Hello, can you hear me?
I can hear you, Lizette. How are you?
I'm fine. I have really, really and truly enjoyed just watching you in your process, and just enjoyed being with you down there and being able to paint a little bit with you. You give me the opportunity.
Yes, thank you for participating. And I actually threw you in the fire. I was like, yep, like jump right in. Let's do this.
Yes, you did. And I have thoroughly enjoyed it. And when I see the mural, I know you was talking about horizons. And you was telling me how you was going to put some trees in there and everything. And I'm just glad that you put that big tree, because, and how you drew the scene of the Neuse, of the Neuse River, because I feel like the Neuse River is all other horizons is based on the river. As long as the river stay in its place, then it makes it true for all other things in Kinston to exist and to go forth and into their dreams and whatever they're supposed to be doing. And I just love the tree. I like the skills of how you actually hid the door that's next to the tree, how you made the illusion, that there wasn't a door there at all, though there isn't a door. I just love that. And I like how you had the little boy on the little hover machine that he was riding, how his foot is resting on a little platform projecting out, but because the little platform is a part of the building, and how you disguised it in an illusion, no one can tell that it's there. I just love that. I love that the illusion of the ability to hide things, and I even like the idea of the little egg in the little purple square, because it makes me think it's just awesome. It makes me feel how that it's a new beginning, it's a new day.
Yes, yes.
And the young man, like someone said, the past is behind. It's time to look forward, and we have to know that we have to train our youth, because that's the next generation. So we got to pour a lot in our youth, and they're gonna have to lead the way. So it's a pretty powerful piece. I love it. I really love it.
Thank you. Thank you for your participation. It was greatly appreciated. You
Thank
know
you.
that. You know that. Marcia. Jump in, Marcia.
Hey, and make
Hello.
nice
How
to
are
let's see. I mean, it's been wonderful to hear you and hear what others have to say. I guess maybe building on what I've heard and what Lisette just said about, for me, I see, and this could also be a projection of kind of the heaviness of the world right now and weight that I'm feeling, but a passage through time and a transition from kind of maybe darkness that we're going through right now, but he's emerging from the light into the future. And the forest there, it is dark. It to me represents a lot of kind of pain and hurt and sadness, but then also resilience because of how the trees are standing up so tall and straight, maybe despite that darkness. So.
Can you hear me?
Yep, I can hear you.
Okay. That's the beauty of art and, everyone's interpretation. Yeah. I mean, we're definitely living in some interesting times right now. And as an artist, I think it's important to create artwork that gives us some form of escape. Like we do need, the reality can become so dense, that it can become overwhelming. So we need to do something that is going to, take us away, take us away, allow us to escape somewhere else where there's more space. So, cool. Thank you for your interpretation. I appreciate that.
Thank you.
Let's see, who else can we engage? Miss Crystal. Miss Crystal, join us and share with us your interpretation of this mural that has taken place in your city.
Well, I will start off by saying just thank you. Thank you again. And I do come on behalf of the city of Kinston. I am a city council member here, and it has really been a great pleasure just working on this project all together. I do apologize for not having gotten down there the day that I was upstairs in the office directly across in front of the building, and I was like, oh, he's over there, I'm going. And then the bottom fell out like within 20 minutes and I didn't get over. But this is just beautiful. I like Marcia, my thoughts immediately went to how much is there on the left side, and then this person kind of being singly evolving away from that. So my heart has been so heavy with the life and the climate that we're in right now. So I see that as well. And I like the colors. I love the colors. And I think that this is something that every time we look at it, just as everybody else has shared what they spoke upon, I see it, I envision it as well. And every time we look at it, we'll probably see something different, and we'll probably see something more. So I just appreciate it. I appreciate art. I appreciate the colors, the beauty, and the vitality that it brings to that area. And on that gray background, you think about the contrast of that deep, dark gray, and then we have these beautiful, rich colors. So I think that it's profound. I thank you again for bringing that to us and giving us that life right there in that space.
Well, thank you. Thank you very much. Yes, I think there is at least one more person. How do I say this name? Tanika? Tanika. 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 That has to be it. Is she available? Tanika. Maybe not, because I don't see anything there. Okay. Well, this is something that I'd like to share. Can everyone still hear me? Yes? This is something I like to share. First of all, like arriving in Kinston, and I didn't know that Kinston was like this art-rich city, and I'm very impressed with like the art residencies that are taking place, and the artists that I've met have been very hospitable. Like it's just been good energy from Studio 105 to meeting artists, Jamil and other artists. It's just been really good to like be in that environment. It definitely adds to the quality of the work, I feel. So with that being said, I know that there are a variety of more murals coming to the city soon, and I'm sure it's just gonna make the city even more rich and more vibrant. And I've seen it, and I've personally experienced how art has transformed cities to like these tourists meccas that people just want to come and spend time and view the art and take pictures in front of the art and eat food and enjoy the city. So I see that Kinston is definitely on the rise, and it really surprises me that this is taking place in North Carolina. Not to undermine North Carolina, but you know, it's just really good to see. It's kind of mind-blowing, and I didn't expect it. But it's interesting also because a lot of my friends who are muralists now, and I'm looking at their travels and stuff on social media, and they're in North Carolina, in different parts of North Carolina. And I'm like, interesting. So I think North Carolina is getting ready to become another big, you know, influential place in terms of art and culture. You know, American history is deep in the South, so it's important that we plant some new seeds there. So, you know, I just want to say thank you. Thank you for the opportunity. It was a great opportunity. It's nice when you are invited to create and you can create what truly comes from your soul and share that with the world, because you have to know as an artist, it is a very insecure experience when you're doing something on that magnitude and you want to connect with people and you want to make, you know, something that you feel is significant to yourself as an artist and to the world. So in my closing notes, I just want to say thank you. If you'd like to see some more work that I have created, you can always go to two websites that are located. One is maxxmoses.com, or you can go to pose2.com. If you want to follow me on social media, you can do so at Maxx Moses 777 on Instagram. And I just launched a new website today called Say Words of Power, which have two of my books that are on there that are books on art and affirmation. So Say Words of Power is a book that has murals and images of paintings that I've created over the last 10 years, and each piece of artwork has an affirmation associated with it that you could enjoy. So feel free to visit any of those sites. Thank you for inspiring me and keeping me, you know, filled with creative energy while I was in Kinston. And I believe that is it. If anyone has, but before I close out, are there any questions that people have or something would like to share before we move onward?
I have two questions. Can you hear me?
Yes.
The first question I have is, was that wall painted? It's a beautiful color, and it looks like the paint was in such good shape. It makes a beautiful background. My second question is, what do you do? I'm having a problem just gridding a portrait. I can't imagine gridding something in that magnitude. How do you grid the sections of what you're doing? What's the process from beginning to end?
I didn't grid. I used a projector.
Okay.
For the project, but I didn't have the you know, projecting is very easy to do because you just, as long as you have your scaling correct, and you can just scale and you have the correct scaling, then you can just go at nighttime, put a projector up and flash the image on the wall and keep it moving. But if you need to use the grid process, that's pretty simplified too. But I think one of the things, you have a drop line that you can make an actual grid pattern on the wall. And that's definitely makes life a lot easier when you're doing the grid pattern, a grid system. So at the wall itself was initially that color, and they asked me if they wanted to change the wall, and I was like, no way, that's the perfect color for my artwork. It's very colorful, and I thought that would bounce off of it very well.
I thought so too, yeah.
Thank
Does that
you.
answer? All right, you're welcome.
Max, this is Dr. J. Did you ever name it yet? When we talked about what were you gonna name? Did you name it?
I did. I just named it. It's titled This Journey.
This Journey.
This Journey. You know,
Okay.
it's because it keeps it present. It's taking place at this moment in time, and it's the boy moving. And I think one of the gentlemen mentioned it really eloquently, saying like he was just pulling his past with him. And you know, like, you know, we're living in the past, the present, and the future all the time. Like, we don't escape those things. It's just how we interpret them and how we deal with them daily. So the title of the piece is This Journey, you know? Yeah. Any other questions?
Hello?
Yes.
I have a question, Max. By it
Yes.
being acrylic paint, how does the acrylic stays up there, and by it being water-based, that it keeps the rain from not penetrating the acrylic?
You asked me some scientific questions right now. It stays as long as the paint that's underneath it is acrylic based too. You know, so it's latex paint that's underneath it. When you have problems, you're having problems when you have two different types of chemicals. If you have a oil-based wall that's painted with oil-based, then try to paint acrylic on top of it, you're gonna have problems. So the fact that it's all acrylic, it just all binds together.
Okay.
Withstand weather and everything. Yes. So yes, this has been a great experience, and I'm looking forward to some more great experiences. If there are any other opportunities to come back to Kinston, know that I would be ready, willing, and able to come back and share and expand and grow with that community, because it's a very warm community. Continue to keep up the good work. Kinston, you guys are doing a wonderful job. You're doing a wonderful job. Like, you're letting art thrive in your city, and that is important. A lot of people in cities and institutions have forgotten the value of art and how important it is and how it transforms our lives. So I really bow my head to cities that are really acknowledging that and investing in it, because I think it will add to the quality of life, to the whole environment around you. So keep up the good work. Yes. I can take any more questions. If there are any more, one or two last questions that people would like to jump in and share, or if there's just something that they would like to share, then feel free before we close out. I'm very open to that.
Just out of curiosity, how long did it take you hour-wise from start to finish?
Of that mural?
Yes.
Well, it took, I can tell you day-wise, it took approximately 9 days to do. And it's hard to, so wow, hourly, wow. I don't know, just say 10 hours a day, even though that that's a good estimate. Say 10 hours a day. 9 days, 10 hours a day, even though that varies quite a bit, but that's a good rough estimate on the
Thank you.
Yes. I know are you gonna do a mural project yourself, Connie?
No, I have problem gridding a portrait, much less imagining something like that. Whew.
Gotcha. Okay. Well, I'd like to take this time to say thank you once again. It's been real. It's been great. It's been a wonderful opportunity. I'll be back because my daughter is in Rocky Mount, so I will be back to visit and check in. So until the next time I see all of you, stay well.
Thank you, you too.
Thank you. You're awesome.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank
so
you.
much, Max.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank
Bye,
you.
everyone.
Bye, everyone.